Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the Wheel of Misfortune. So this is a series where basically the game will decide a category. I spin the wheel, I get a category, then I also get a condition, so that can be something like they all need to be from the same saga, they all need to be from the same, category. Then there's some kind of restriction, so no LRs, all same characters, no items, etc. And then I choose a stage, so that can be LGEGT, ESBR, Red Zone, God's Event, etc. So just one of the hard content in the game. Obviously it's a pretty fun game mode, I would say. It's just a nice way to spice things up, maybe to try and build new teams to take on events. It's always a lot of fun. The rules are simple. If I clear a category, then it comes off the wheel, I replace it with another one, and then if of course I don't clear the category, then it stays on the wheel, and they have to fully link level 10 an SR character. Now the last character was the Ox King SR, which is honestly a waste of time, but it's one of those things. There can be better forfeits in the future, so if you are watching, you have an idea for a forfeit, you are welcome to place a forfeit, and then we can obviously take a look from there. But yeah, so we're taking on the Gods of Destruction event. We need to build a full Super Saiyan team, and we can't use any LR units. So this isn't too bad. Super Saiyan quite recently got some buffs, and generally the Gods event is best taken on with monotype teams. So we're fortunate in the sense that there's a lot of strong Super Saiyans that are strength, and we can use them to take on the event. So got some pretty interesting choices here. The Xeno Vijenks, pretty solid choice. Then we've got obviously Gohan and Goku. We've got the newly EZA transforming Goku. So we got some decent selections. I think the one I'm most worried about is probably Kefla. I think Kefla is, she's a little bit orb dependent, which makes it a little bit challenging. So we do need to be a tiny bit careful about that, but beyond that we should be fine. Like I say, generally speaking, we should be okay. I think at the end of the day, what it's going to come down to is it is going to come down to exactly how lucky we get with the placement of the super attacks. Now the thing is with Moscow, he generally, if I state that correctly, has an AoE attack. So it's been a while since I've done this event, but he has an AoE attack, I'm pretty certain. So that can be a problem. 100% can definitely be a problem. Now we are able to use items, so we are going to be using a Whis, and we are able to use support memories. So we're going to use the Siblings Bond one just for a little bit of healing, because the Saiyan team doesn't have a huge amount of healing, basically, to cut a long story short. So yeah, for me, I think everything here is pretty good, honestly speaking. I think for the most part, I think there's like a pretty good team here that can take on this event. Obviously there's a little bit of concerns. There are some units I think that need to build up a little bit, and that's okay. Like, some of them will need to build up. Ideally we can get the transformation for the Goku, the Super Saiyan Goku, the leader, sooner rather than later, because that is pretty useful. But basically it's going to be a bit of a long run. I think we were fortunate because Super Saiyan, like I said, is quite diverse. Although I think Super Saiyan is quite a lot dependent on doing the super hard content. So like doing a doing not LR dependent, but like it's got a select batch of units that can kind of take on super duper hard content like red zone, etc., etc. So yeah, for me, I think personally, we just have to see what happens. But this run, it's more than fine. The strength, Super Trunks is very good. He starts out quite strong. He just gets stronger over time. Has a very decent raw defense ceiling, which is pretty good, if I must admit. Then we also have, of course, the Super Saiyan Goku Gohan. Very, very, very solid unit. We have the Goku, who's also going to be great. So we just have a lot of decent units, to be honest. Not too concerned about anything too much, although, like I said, we do want to obviously build up as much as possible, because we do want to try and start getting some damage and be okay defensively, and kind of see where things go from there, I think, because that is going to be where damage-wise we're a bit lacking. We have some significant damage dealers, Kefla being one of them, but Kefla, like I said, is very orb-reliant to be good defensively. We need to make sure that we feed her a sufficient amount of orbs, so it's not like we can just leave her, let her be. We need to make sure that she gets the orb she can, or otherwise she needs to be out of harm's way, which is also ideal, because obviously we want her to not be in the danger zone. So we basically want to kind of make sure that that's all okay. You can see the AoE attack does do quite a significant amount of damage, especially since we have a Whis active. Obviously it's nothing like Broly. Broly from the red zone obviously is basically just a improved version of Moscow, but Broly is a lot less health than Moscow. Moscow, generally speaking, is pretty tough, and he's also hitting type disadvantage. So yeah, it is pretty intense. But yeah, to cut a long story short, everything goes fine. We get the transformation, which is good. The transformation is going to help us out, mainly because Goku becomes very, very solid afterwards. The stacking defense helps, but not only that, but he also obviously gains that critting ability when his guard is active. That's going to help us out a lot with damage. His own personal damage goes up quite a bit, also going to help us out a lot. So yeah, Goku just in general looking very, very solid. Personally, fantastic Easy A. I think a lot of people were skeptical when it first came out, but I think Goku's Easy A is really, really solid. So yeah, really, really, really good. So for me, personally, I'm really, really happy with with how this team played out. I think, personally speaking. So yeah, for the most part, very, very, very chuffed. If I can say anything, I would probably say, maybe switch out the Super Trunks and maybe the Kefla. I think if I could change anything about the team, I would probably switch out those two. The rest, all more than fine. Everyone else functioned as planned. The Goku Gohan really did a lot of the damage. You will see that I am prioritizing getting supers with like the stacking units, making sure Kefla gets her orbs, etc. It is just safer overall to do so. You don't want to be left out in the lurch because you've missed a super attack or something. You don't want to obviously do that. So yeah, generally speaking, really, really good stuff. And yeah, for the most part, I'm quite happy with how it all worked out. Again, the Gods of Destruction events, yes, they aren't as hard as they used to be, but they're still a pretty hard event. Like, you can't just walk in here and waltz the victory anymore, which I think a lot of people just assume you can. It is still a very tough event. Still very much requires good team composition, good understanding of your team, good understanding of the boss mechanics. So it's definitely still very, very hard. Uh, it's just not maybe as hard as it used to be, which is understandable because that's how the curvature of the game goes. But yeah, Moscow I think was a pretty good kind of starting point, at least for this run. I think for the most part, as a boss, he's pretty tough. Like I said, he's got that AoE attack, immune to ceiling, lowering, all of that. Out of all the bosses, he's not the toughest though. There's definitely other bosses that are more irritating, but I do think he's a little bit harder than Sidra, the other physical one. So I think overall this was a pretty good run. Yeah, I think if there was anything, like I said, it would just be we had a slight lack of damage. Kefla couldn't really get her orbs going, which was a bit unfortunate. She would have helped out greatly with that damage. So, but yeah, beyond that, I mean, everything still went fine. Super Trunks, I actually think, in hindsight, did an excellent job. Could have done a little bit better, but he did do an excellent job. And the Goku Gohans obviously just completely carry and do a fantastic job with just everything. So yeah, very, very good stuff. Again, you can see here, just being smart, just using the rage mode, just so that I can switch back onto another Goku Gohan, and basically, yeah, just essentially get back to another Goku Gohan phase as soon as possible without risking any damage here, and getting some free damage in as well. So yeah, very obviously kind of like strategic play, this one. It's something that Goku's rage mode does come in handy with, that free kind of damage, especially in this environment where we have the type advantage. So the smaller attack stats that Goku gets in his rage mode still do a significant amount of damage. I mean, you can see here we're about to knock off about a bar, so it's a very, very solid like performance from Goku. Lots of nice, good damage. And yeah, all of a sudden now we're back onto the Goku Gohan rotation, which will be very, very, very good. And then you can take things from there, which is always super duper solid. So yeah, I think everything went to plan. I don't really have any issues with any part of the team. Like I said, even the ones I would replace, they did do a great job. And again, you can see I'm just prioritizing super attacks with those who need them, making sure they get them, making sure they're in the most comfortable position. We have units that are flexible, in the form of Goku, in the form of Gohan, and you don't need to distinctly do like a set rotation. So we use those units, we let them float around, we let them soak up damage, we let them do their business, and we just work around them. We just cater to units like Kefla, we cater to all those units. We just make sure that they're basically in the best position possible. You can see again, making sure that I save the orbs, making sure I give Kefla everything she needs so that she can evade. She's got her 8 orbs, just being strategic. But we do get lucky anyway, and that Gohan counters the attack here. So he counters the AoE attack before the damage occurs and then kills Moscow, which is pretty boss. But yeah, so that's it. That is the Gods of Destruction event. That is Moscow. That is a challenge done. So that's Super Saiyan off the board. You can leave a comment on what category you would like to see next, or any challenges or any restrictions you'd like to add, or any forfeits, etc. It's very customizable, so it's just to have a bit of fun, change things up, and do something a little bit different and enjoyable. But yeah, that's it from me. Bye.